Alright, this is going to start the release tutorial for my Daemon Ta800. This ship does have a lot of logic on it. Can be taxing, but as you can see I'm running 97 frames, and if we look inside, my logic's 53, physics is 54. So it's, and I don't have a beast. I have a 1070 in here, so it's running pretty well. It struggles really badly if you open it up in the editor and you go into logic. It's just, I'll show you later. It has a million nodes. So let's quickly jump on it. I've already done a tour video, and of course, I've made some changes since then. So I'll try to update any changes in this, and I'll do another tour video at some point. But I just want to go in and we'll do a quick operations video tutorial on this. So let's go to the stern of the ship, and on the port side, we have a door. We have to go down. We have to turn on all our power before we can get going here. So we're down in the engine room. We have our generator here. This automatically turns on and off to maintain battery charge, so you don't have to do anything with that. We have our starboard and our port diesel for movement. We're going to come in this room on the starboard side, and you'll notice all our circuit breakers. These are default on, so you don't have to turn any of these on. They're already on. So the main thing you want to do is come to the silver panel here. These are all the real relays for the ship. Your master, you have a couple recharge and some for some other battery isolation. So here are your battery isolators. So you want to select your starboard bank, your port bank, your starboard recharge, and your port battery recharge. So a lot of this is RP. Like in real life, you might go off one battery bank until you get the ship up and running. We used to do that flying for airplanes. You might want to, for some reason, let's say for maintenance, you'd want to, not recharge a battery while you were working on it, or one battery, need to be replaced, so you weren't recharging it. But you want the starboard battery bank on, port battery bank, and the two recharges on. Then you can do your key switch, and that's your master power. As you see, lights came on. That will turn on all your power in the ship so that you can now get going. These are your essentially all your gauges for an engineer to read down here. You have your batteries. Your delta is essentially telling you, am I losing electricity or I'm gaining electricity, which we're losing because the generator's not on. Again, that will come on automatically. Generator, RPS, and temp. Generator output, and that will show if the generator's on. I think I need to fix that. Starboard RPS, port RPS, and the associated temps for those engines. So those are off, so they're showing 0, and they're just showing ambient temp. We'll go on up. As you can hear, that's our generator kicking on. So the generator automatically comes on when the batteries get down to a certain level, and then that will auto throttle to maintain battery charge. It will auto shut off as well once you hit a certain battery threshold. So like if we went and parked, it would charge the batteries up, it would shut off, and then as you drained them off again, it would, like say all you had on was some lights, it would auto start again when it needed to. So we'll go into the bridge here. First thing we'll quickly talk about is our water ballast. So the ship has 430-something thousand liters of water. It also holds about, 4 to 500,000 liters of oil. The ballast system is pretty much automatic, so you don't have to do anything with it. This is a visual representation of how these are oriented in the ship. So this would be bow, stern. These are all your port tanks. So port bow, center port. This should be this should be labeled different, but so these are your port tanks. That's your stern tank. That should be a center stern instead of it's center port. That should be something else. Anyways, and these are all your starboard tanks. So as you can see, you start full. That keeps your water line right on the water. So if we wanted to go down by 1 meter, we can't do it right now because we have full tanks. So we can put in -1 meter and we won't sink anymore. So we're right at the water line. So if we put 1 meter, we want to be 1 meter above the water line, or the water line 1 meter above the water. As you can see, it will start to empty the tanks. So I like to keep it on 0. This automates the system. You can see your two altimeters here. That's how this is controlled. So it also does roll control. So if the ship's listing, say, port because you put too much oil in the port side, it will try to fix it with water. So that, this thing takes like 2 hours to fill with oil, and so it's like I'll hook it up and then I'll go to bed, and so this helps to try to keep it nice and stable while you're filling with oil. Here's your oil control panel. You have two actually. You have this one up in the bridge, and if you look down there, you have another one right where you would connect your oil lines. So if you wanted to control it from here, you'd press the toggle, and then you can turn all the pumps on for, you know, the port tanks, all the starboard. Let's say you're listening to port too much, you might shut your ports off, leave your starboards on for a bit. Here are all the gauges. You have 8 tanks, again, 8 water, 8 oil. So you do, you know, tank 1, tank 2, in, and if you want to go out, you can go out. So we will shut that off. Alright, so let's start operating the ship, and then any more we can do out at sea. So as you can see, the bows started to go over towards the dock there. So first thing we'll do is we'll start up our engines. So we just have to click those on, get them green. Engines auto start, engines auto restart, and they auto throttle. We don't control the engines at all. All we're controlling is clutches. Next thing we'll do is we'll turn on some bow thruster so we can get away from the dock. So I'm just going to click one notch over a bow thruster. So thruster to port pushes us to the port, starboard, starboard. So we have left to go to port, right to go to starboard, and then that centers it. It will reset it in the middle. So once we're done, we can reset in the middle. So I put a little in to start taking us out the dock. Our flashing zeros here, that's our speed. We're not moving, so they're doing nothing. I think we'll max about 12 knots. I think the real one's 9, so I kicked it up a little bit. We have depth under keel, which will show how deep the water is underneath us. We have cockpit lights, bright and dim. I think I need to fix the dimmer. I don't think that's connected, but as you see, we have white lights. If we press this button here again, we get red lights. Press it one more time, that will shut our cockpit lights off. So they default on so that we can find our way up in the dark. We have a wind direction speed. I don't have any wind on now, so that's why it's reading 0. As you see, our bow rather is coming off of the dock. RPS for the 2 engines. If we come over here, this is how we control all of our propulsion. So we do it with the clutches. So we have port clutch, starboard clutch. We have our, below here we have our sinks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by sinking. So when I sink, what that allows me to do is, instead of controlling the props independently, it allows me to control both props with just the port side. So as you can see, the port's showing me going forward, the starboard's not. But because we're synced, whatever the port's doing, the starboard does. So real vessels do this so that you're not having to you know, control both independently. I wanted a twin screw as well, because what we could do is, since we're synced, I can actually play with my starboard side and it's not going to do anything. So like, say we're going to make a really tight right turn towards starboard. If I remove the sync, it's going to try to put that starboard screw in reverse, and that should, you know, it's slowing down now. It's getting ready to put it into reverse, and you'll notice you hear the engine had to restart because I stalled it out, you know, instantly trying to go into reverse. But as you can see, it restarted and it went back up, and as you can see, we're making a really nice circular turn towards starboard. And so I could actually reduce that a little bit. We actually drive a little bit better in reverse just because we don't have, you know, so much drag in Stormworks. So as you can see, you know, I'm doing a turn with differential thrust. So you could either control your port and starboard clutches manually like this, or you can sync them up, and whatever you're doing on the port side will follow on the starboard. So with that sync on, I can, you know, everything's controlled with just these port thrusters. Alright, the other one is 0. I'm not going to click it right now because we just got moving, but 0 does what it says. It zeroes it out. So it sends a 0 signal to the clutches, so it's going to essentially stop your props from turning. So if you had to do an emergency stop, you click 0. If you have to, say we need to do a spin like that, we're in a tight harbor, we could click 0, set up our gauges here so we could do, you know, like we had, we could have our port forward and our starboard in reverse, and we could set up for a turn, unclick the 0, and then it would let us do that turn. So it lets us do a little pre-planning. On this side we have port engine high temp that will blink if we get over 100 degrees. And there's our port engine temp. With my cooling system in there, the way it is, you should never have an over temp. If you have any problems, please put it in the comments with over temping, because I've literally never had an issue, so I'd like to fix it if that was something that changed. Starboard high temp and the associated temp. We have our battery indicated here, and this light tells us our generator's on. So we can hear it, but that light tells us generator's on, and that generator will keep on until that battery's charged. So pretty much the whole time we're underway, we're using enough electricity that that generator will be on. Now you can see we're cruising, we're doing 12 knots. So this center gauge here is our rudder angle. As you can see, we didn't do any maneuvering with the rudder, and that's one of the reasons why it shows a twin screw, is we were able to do all that turning with differential thrust. We didn't have to use the rudder once. We used bow thruster and we used differential thrust. So the rudder position gauge is here. The rudder is sticky. It does not recenter itself. So like if we wanted to set 0.23 rudder angle, as you can see, it stays there. I'm not holding it. And that allows us to plan for turns. Alright, so let's actually do a quick, so this max is 45. I noticed in Stormworks, the props will actually stall out if you go over 45. So I have them maxed out to 45, so you're never going to get in this portion of the gauge, but that will, that right there maxes you at your max angle. Alright, so we'll get set up for a little bit of autopilot work. So I'll link the who created this autopilot system. This is what I use on a lot of my ships. So the way you want to do this, so let's zoom out a little bit. So let's plot a quick course. We'll plot a course down the bridge here. Well, actually, I'll do it closer just so that we can play around here. But so if you hit R, it centers you on your ship, on you. You can zoom out, you can zoom in. So these are main controls that I'm doing. Next, I'm going to use my cursor and I'm going to push and hold it. That's how I'm going to put a marker for the autopilot. Then I'm going to do the plus sign, and as you see, I've got quantity 1 marker, 1 autopilot marker. I'm actually going to just center my rudder here, so we're not doing too much of a turn. So that made my marker. As I move it to the next one, I'm just going to drag it to the next one. I'm going to add another one. Now we have 2, as you can see, 2, and we'll just do 3 for now. So we'll come up to the high side of the north of the island, and we'll add 1 more marker. I'll just hit R to center back on my craft. I'll zoom out. This red line here, this darker line, that's actually where we're pointed. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to engage the autopilot. So I'm actually going to put in some rudder just to show you that the autopilot will take over. So I have 0.31 rudder angle in. I'm going to click that off, and you'll notice that red A comes on. Now the button doesn't always reset right, but if this is lit up red, that means the autopilot's on. So as you can see, I had right rudder in, it put in left rudder to turn itself on course. So now the autopilot is going. So let's actually stand over there and we can look at it a little bit better. So as you can see, that dark red line is moving towards our target. So let's, our waypoint. So that's showing where we're trending. That's our trend line. All right, so this is a really cool system. Let's go through. These are redundant, so I can put the map on this side if I wanted. I'm not sure. I think I have to control the autopilot from that starboard one. But as you can see, it's showing us how many meters till the next waypoint. So, 930 meters. I have 3 waypoints. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click to the right here. This allows me to change the map from color to black and white. Not quite sure what that does. I think that gives us our current position. Next is our, this is for a beacon, which I don't have set up. We can either transmit or receive the beacon. So, if you were using this system on a rescue ship, on a rescue boat, you could, receive a emergency beacon. All right, we'll do another one here. This is our radar sync. So if we click this on, you'll hear some pivots turning. Actually, do I need to turn this power radar on? So my radar wasn't powered on, so I came over to the radar screen, I hit power. So now this is synced, so if I shut that off, you notice no radar. With it synced, I get both radar and LiDAR. So I think radar is yellow, I think LiDAR is white. So you see all these red dots, that's the LiDAR hitting waves. So if you have really wavy seas, you'll get these red dots all over the place. That will be your waves. So this is a great system. I forget the person's name, but I will link it in the video description. So you see we have radar and LiDAR going on the same screen. So I zoomed in just so we could see our next waypoint. So we'll click back to our main autopilot screen. We're 308 meters away from that, so once we get close, it's going to auto-cycle to the next target. Alright, so we'll come over to the radar screen, quickly show you how to work this. So this defaults on the radar screen, that will default on map, but you can use all of them. They're redundant, you can use them on either. So right now we are, I'm not necessarily an expert on the screen, but we're showing 250 meters away. There's 500, there's 1,000, there's 2,000. As you can see with the LiDAR, we're starting to hit some land, so we're getting echoes behind the land, it looks like. So I don't know if the island's, yeah, so it's probably hitting the island. As you can see, there's the island behind us, and it looks like we're getting echo off the island. So the LiDAR system is hitting that island. Alright, so we're turning here. As you can see, it looks, the island's turning as well. Alright, so we can keep going out, and we can go down as low as 50. So I think it defaults at 250, so let's keep it at 1 kilometer. Let me hit this. I'm not sure what that does. That locks the position. Alright. And then this allows me, I think, to set a sweep. As you can see, it's moving that yellow. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I can manually sweep something with that. I can push it back the other way and set where it sweeps from. And that resets it back to in front. That's 360-degree radar. That's 45 degrees. So let's say you had a ship in front of you that you wanted to keep focused on. As you can see, it refreshes very fast, so that you can keep eyes on them. That's 90. It refreshes a little bit slower. 180 just keeps everything in front of you, and then back to 360 does the 360-degree sweep. All right, so this, again, PW here is power for the radar. That'll show radar off, so it's radar on, and that's required for the sync. If we click on camera, we have our one and only camera on here. Let's see if we can go look at it. So as you can see, this is the camera. I still need to paint that. But this is the camera here. It's attached to the spotlight. There's our LiDAR system. Again, I'll put a link to that person's system. But there's the LiDAR going, and there's our radar up on the mast. I don't think I talked about our navigation lights, so let's look at those real quick. On the right side here, you have your navigation lights. So you have an up and down arrow and a number. So if we click it once, this gives us a visual representation. This here is our, these are our mast sides, and we have front and rear mast. I think this is my front mast, and then this is all the rear mast. So that's one, that's showing us the top light on our rear mast, as you can see, and then we have a top light on our front mast. If we go one more, this is normal navigation. So if we look at our front mast, we have a forward white light, so you can't see it from the rear. As you can see, we can't see any lights from the rear except our stern light from the side. We can see our bow mast, our stern mast. We can see our green, and we can see the that top mast there. And then on the side will be red. So these are accurate to real navigation. And we can keep going through these. There are 6 of them. These are all the different settings. You can look at the chart. It will tell you what it is. But 1 is anchored, 2 is going to be regular navigation. As you can see, we already we already got there because we were down from 3 to 2, and now we have 1 left. So you see, it automatically went full hard rudder to the port side, and we're going to our last waypoint here. So we're actually going to let it let it go to that last waypoint, which is 1.3 kilometers away. It will auto shut off the clutches. It will auto zero. So if you have any issues with that, let me know. It sometimes can be finicky, so I'd love some feedback on that. So we're back here with our camera. So we actually can use the screen here for our camera. So we only have 1 connected at the moment. So if we use the plus, we zoom in our camera. If we use the minus, we zoom out. If we were to, zoom in and then we were to move to the port side, then we were to look up, if we click R, it resets it back to the default position. So you also see that the spotlight moves. So the spotlight is connected. N is for night vision. Alright, and then this, if we have multiple cameras, we move through them, but because I have it set to 1, it will not move there. So let's quickly go into night here, and we'll do some a little bit of night stuff, show some lights. So as you can see, we can turn on night vision. We can cycle our camera around. We can move to port, to starboard. We can zoom in. We can look for ships, whatever we want to do. If we want to turn on our spotlight, that's right here. We have bow spot. As you can see, it's actually probably better, know, to shut that night vision off if we're doing a close target. But we could light up the bow with this. We can cycle around, so we can search for you know, whatever we want to look at. And then you know, far targets are not too bad. You know, we still, as you can see, we're making a ton of lights, so night vision's tough. So if we turn night vision off, you know, we can use our spot. But that's where our spot is, right there. We'll just keep night vision on since the spot is off. And we'll just look ahead. You can actually see the laser going around. I think that's the LiDAR lighting everything up. So that's pretty cool. But on night vision, you can see the LiDAR going. Over here we have our deck lights. W is white, R is red, and blast click is off. So we click it once. As you can see, we have white lights. Let's just go do a quick tour around there. We have 500 meters. It should auto stop us. I've had problems every once in a while with that, so you know, if anyone has any issues, let me know. So you have a rear white stern lighting up the stern here. You have a side light. You have a forward light. So these might be redundant. I might get rid of these here, but I'll have to see just to keep performance down. So those are there. It's dark in the middle, which isn't a big deal. And then we have our bow spots here, our bow lights here for our deck lights. So let's head back. If we click that button again, we will get red lights, just for, you know, night work. It's nice to have some red spots down there, so it's not so bright, blasting in the face. You know, so we could change our cockpit over to reds. We could change our deck lights to reds. And as you can see now, it's. Did I not click that? Oh, they were off. Okay, so now we're reds all around for our night travel. We also have a backup compass ball up here if you prefer to go off that. So currently 150 meters, so this should essentially zero. It uses the same system as the zero. That should automatically zero our engines when we get pretty much on top of this point here. So let's wait for that. Like I said, every once in a while I have problems with it. So as you can hear, and you see our speed, it automatically shut our engines off. So what this is good for is, like I said, you know, this thing could take 2 hours. It takes 2 hours to fill with oil. So, you know, you may want to go make food and set the autopilot and have it go over to the oil platform. Well, it will automatically shut the engines off and you'll be able to stop. So let's look under depth under keel's too deep for anchors. So let's actually go in towards the island. I'm trying to remember how to reset the system. So now that we're off with the autopilot, I think we have to, yeah, you hear it's making some weird clicking noises. That's what happens to reset the engines. You have to click the 0, and you'll hear some clicking. That's, you know, that's the PIDs going crazy trying to restart the engines. But that's how you'll reset. So if the autopilot shuts off your engines, you just click the 0 button. And that will reset your engine. You'll be underway again. All right, so we're going to turn towards the island. So we'll work with our anchors. Presently the anchor light is not working to show that you're attached, so I'll have to fix that. But you know, that should just take a little time to do. But I really like this night vision setup. It makes it nice, especially coming into port. So. Let's see, let's get visually. So the dock is right over there. Yeah, actually it might not be. Let me see. Actually use my camera. Let's try to see if I can see it. Zoomed in way too much. Right, let me see if I can spot that dock. Yeah, so you can see how great the camera is. I can see everything. You actually just go stand in front of it, will be a little bit easier. And we're also making a big turn, so. But I think, is that the dock there? I don't know. I think that is it. So anyways, the whole point of what we're doing here is we're going to try to get close to anchor. So our anchor has the medium winches, so we get 20 meters. So, you know, we want 20 meters or less so that we can connect our anchors. Alright, so you can see depth under keel is decreasing as we get close to the island. So I'm just presently looking for the, I don't think the dock is there. I think it's on the other side of the island. Yeah, I think we're up north side. Yeah, so it's over here. We're up north. So that's fine. We'll just come in. All we want to do is get close so that we can drop some anchors. Anyways, and that will pretty much finish up most of the tutorial here. It's really not too much to it. You know, I could, you know, in operations, you know, the tour video, I'll put out another tour once I get everything completed. But there is a tour video up on my YouTube now. If you want to watch that, that will show, you know, a little bit more of the ship. But this is pretty much focused on operation. And you see, there's really not all that much to it. It seems a little complicated, but it's not too much to it. All we have left is anchors at this point. So we're 35 meters under keel, so we'll just keep coming in slowly. You know, we're doing max speed, but it's 12 knots. You know, we have plenty of time to slow down. Just make sure we don't hit anything. But as you can see, the camera is very useful. If I click R, it resets it to the center, and then I can just zoom back in, and that will set me up nicely to see what's there. Let's look at the LiDAR. Let's. So on this side, I didn't really go through the pages. The pages are the same. If we click radar, it goes to radar. As you can see, we have our radar depicted there, showing our targets. If I go, let's go down to, let's do 100, see if we can't light up this this area here. We'll go up a little bit more. We'll go 250, see if, yeah, you can see we're starting to light up the land there. Let's try not to run aground here. So we're within 20, so when I do is hit 0, you can hear the engines throttling down because they auto throttle down. So they have less resistance on them. They don't need as much on there, so they're reducing. So we have 16 under keel, so we have 20 meters of wire essentially for our anchors. So all we need to do is click anchors down. Can't really, you might be able to see them a little bit, but yeah, it's hard to see the anchors without me flying. I'll just fly over there. And you see the anchors are going down. There it goes right there. I can't do a flashlight with them. There we go. Alright, so you can see those are going down. Those will auto attach. As you can see here, this is our, again, I can't keep my light on while I'm flying, but there's our bow thrusters in the bow there. So I'm going to go back into the bridge here. So we have 20 meters of length, and you know we're sitting at 16. So I'm just going to let it all out. So there's 20. Just stop that so it doesn't keep trying to spool out. But they should be connected, so we can actually swim down. That connection light, I'm struggling to get that working. So I'll have to mess with that much. I don't use anchors all that much. We'll just swim down and we'll check them, make sure they're connected, but I believe I just did it earlier and they were, so. Up it says false, so I'll have to look into why those aren't connecting. They were connecting over at the dock, so it might be positional. I don't know what's up with them, why that's not connecting. But I will look into that. You know, anything that you find a problem with, please put in the comments, and I will at some point try to fix it. Yeah, so those aren't presently connected, but that gives a little view of underneath the keel. So one thing I didn't get into just detail-wise because that was in the tour. This is your water line. That's your altimeter we were talking about. But if more details like this, I went into depth on the tour video. So if you watch that, you'll be able to see that. All right, so we are parked presently. So let's, so you know, if we were at anchor, we could go to our anchor lights on 1. Let's go back to map. There. So our LiDAR is hitting something. You see our LiDAR is painting. Let's see, what are these? That's map color. Yeah, we went over that. So it's pretty much wraps up the operation. You know, it seems a little complex, but it's actually not all that bad. You know, so you know, we're sitting here at anchor. If you want, so let's go through a shutdown. So all you have to do for shutdown is very simple. You see it's port start stop. Just click it off. And as you see, they start going down. They get fuel. It shuts essentially the fuel manifold off, so they'll auto. You know, essentially it starves them out. They'll just, you know, essentially shut down. You'll also, we can't really see it from up here, so let's go down, but because, you know, we're not running much, like if I were to shut some lights off in here, let's do the deck lights, put the deck lights off. Eventually there's one area I didn't go into. I did it on the tour, so I actually finished it. That's the only reason I'll go in here. I need to do a light in this hall. So we have staterooms in here. There's a crew of 3 in the real one, so this actually tells me a couple things I need to do. We have a galley in here. This is all positioned correctly where it is in the real ship. New thing I did, reason I'm in here, is bathroom. So it's kind of hard to see now, but on the new tour video, I'll show that. You have a toilet and a shower. That was not in the tour video, so you just click it over to day so we can have a little bit better view in here. So that's our shower and our toilet inside of our bathroom. And then we have our 2 staterooms. So as you can see, there's a couple little paint blocks or painting that I need to do, that just stuff that I've missed. But you know, pretty much ship's pretty much done. It's just a small thing. So if you notice anything, especially technical, that needs to be worked on, let me know. But I'm going to be uploading this to the workshop now. I still have some paint blocks. So I'm just going to do a quick run, make sure I can get all the paint blocks clean. But that's the basic operation of the ship. One thing operationally we'll go back to is over here. If you want to control the oil input from this station, just like up on the bridge, you click toggle and it lets you control it from here. If you you hook your 3 oil hoses up to here, I think all the crude oil stations now have 3 hose attach points, so you can attach to 3 to fill faster. And so quickly, you know, if you wanted to fill all your tanks, it would be turn all your pumps on and then in. I might change the system, but then if you want it out, you do out. So it doesn't show you an indication if it's in or out, but you can easily tell by the gauge. So like if we were connected to oil and I clicked in and the tank 1 pumps on, tank 1 should be taken on oil. If it's not taken on oil, you know, try clicking 1 and see if it'll go on. All right, so thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for all the interest in this build. It's probably my most detailed and accurate build to date. There's been a lot of interest in it, so I wanted to try to get it out this weekend. If you have any questions, you can leave them on the either on the YouTube here, or you can leave them on the workshop release page. Thank you for watching.